Let's talk about where this leads to as not only the result of this ideology, but one of the tactics in the ideology. And we got the story from Newsweek, which I find absolutely sad. It's sad and funny. Police prepare for another hot summer of violent street clashes as U.S. reopens. Really? Nothing's even happened yet. What
COVID is going to cause this? What people getting back from COVID is going to cause riots? I don't think that's what it is.
No, I think what they're saying is that regardless, the police are getting prepared because even though there's been no police brutality, even though there's been no major breaking story, the cops know that doesn't matter. Right. You'll get a video of I'll give you an example. There's a cop playing basketball with the local kids, and they're all laughing. One of the kids happens to be black, and the cop he's going up to do a jump shot. He jump shots, and then he bumps into one of the kid. The kid falls over, and then everyone shows a clip of a cop bumping into a kid, knocking him over, and they're like, police brutality. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but the point I'm making is you'll get something out of context. You'll get some hearsay, some random rumor. And then all of a sudden, here we go again.
You know what else that article is saying is our company, Newsweek, is flailing and losing money, and we're desperate for clicks, so here's some rage bait crap.
Well, and here's the funny thing, though. The cops are getting ready. I'll tell you what the cops are getting ready to do. They're loading their stuff to get out of the way for the riots because their civilian leaders are not going to let them stop those riots. And like you said, they got the most recent incident. Cop shoots a kid who had a gun. Doesn't matter that the kid had a gun. He was 15. He had a gun. He got shot. The cops are supposed to shoot that kid when he points a gun at him. They're not supposed to take a bullet.
Let's talk about those two girls in D.C. who carjacked that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Carjacked him, committing a felony, killed him. They're not going to get jail time.
No.
Kyle Rittenhouse, defending a local business, chased and attacked by a violent rioters, fires in self-defense and immediately runs to get police assistance. He's in jail.
Dude, those girls carjacked that guy and then hit the gas and murdered him, threw him out of his car and murdered him.
No jail time.
At one level, 13 and 15, I'm like, they're not adults. I'm hesitant to elevate that. But it also sends a message that, keep carjacking. Now, Rittenhouse will get off. I have looked at that. I'm actually writing a piece that I'm going to give to the defense justifying why that is self-defense by every legitimate legal standard. But why did he get charged with first-degree murder? I'll tell you why. Because Black Lives Matter intimidated the civilian leaders through violence into changing their policy and charging with that. Now, what's that? That's domestic terrorism.
It is. We have no real leaders. We have no real leaders.
No one is immune to belligerence. I just keep thinking of Nazi Germany, man. They thought they were a democracy up until that point, the German people. And if violent coercion can happen at any time to any group of people. So we have to be aware of that. We have to be cognizant that can take hold, man. And
there's no leaders, bro.
There's
no leaders.
Leader, I know. You're a leader.
Where was the prosecutor from Wisconsin to walk out and say, I'm not charging him with a crime. Have a nice day.
The same place the ones in Minneapolis were or any place else. But here's the dangerous thing. Black Lives Matter has now been told that violence to intimidate public policy works. So they committed terrorist acts. Those were used to change policy. And now they were rewarded with hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and the policies they want. So we're in a situation where there are now two rules. All right, we had an afternoon of violence at the Capitol, and that was the greatest insurrection and biggest threat to the Republic in the history of Earth. And we had an entire year plus of insurrection by the left, and it's like, meh. Because they more or less agree.
Excuse me? No. Those were peaceful protests.
Right.
Mostly.
Fiery, but peaceful.
93%.
That's one of the best chyrons ever. And no.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful protest.
But the threat of violence doesn't even have to be violence now. Now here's where they won. They committed the violence, and they will again. Because, somebody needs flat screen. We got flat screens are in high demand. But whatever justification they use to start the riots, those will happen. The police will not stop them again. And again, Kyle Rittenhouse was literally acting as a member of the militia, not the militia by name, that Kenosha Guard or whatever it was. But in the Second Amendment, it is expected that in the absence of government authority to keep people safe, they have the right and the ability to protect themselves and their property. So he went and protected property at the invitation of the owners.
And and he did not bring a gun across state lines.
No, his friend gave him a gun. Okay. And the issues about should he have had the gun? He's 17. Okay. Those are legitimate. Deal with those. But that's administrative.
Right.
The right of people in the absence of the police were stood down and pulled back, and people's businesses and livelihoods and lives were threatened. They have a right to have weapons and to protect themselves. That's what the militia is.
Here's another question. Does the Second Amendment say a well-regulated militia being necessary for free and state, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, unless of course you are under the age of 18, you have a mental illness, you are a felon. It doesn't actually say any of those things.
No.
Now I understand there's interpretations from the Supreme Court, but I wonder which of those would actually stand in the long run because, back then, a 15-year-old was an adult?
Yeah.
They could have guns.
And I think Biden, as much as he is a doddering fool and an idiot and said some dumb things today, of course no amendment is absolute. All right? There are no actual absolutes in politics. It's not possible to have an absolute in politics. But what you can say is, under the interpretations and the standing law and precedent right now, the things he's doing are unconstitutional as per Heller versus DC or DC versus Heller.
You know what I would do if I was in Congress? I would create the 2 + 2 = 4 bill, and it would simply say Congress asserts that 2 + 2 = 4. That's it. You going to vote on it or not? Because they tried saying the woke people 2 + 2 could equal 5.
I would probably filibuster that because in base 3 math there is no numeral 4. You only have 0, 1, 2.
Doesn't matter.
It's always the geek. It's always they got you.
I'm the nerd.
But this is exactly the constructivist ideology, that I can change the definition in order to make you wrong, as opposed to admitting what we know is 2 + 2 = 4. You can change the context, but now you're arguing something totally different. It would be like if we were playing baseball and I said, if I hit this ball 100 feet and it goes over that fence, it's a home run. You'd go, well, some fences are at 75 feet. Some are at 150 feet. I'm like, I didn't ask that. I'm talking about this fence right here. So what they're doing is they're going, well, 2 + 2 could equal 5. Because what if we're saying 2.4 + 2.4, which is 4.8, which rounded up is 5? Well, you didn't say 2.4, did you? So the point is,
if you said in base 10,
why would I
in
have
base
to?
5 or above, 2 + 2 = 4, I cannot deny that.
What average person is thinking in anything other than base 10 right now?
Probably none of them,
None of
unfortunately.
them. So this is
Maybe
the
not average
constructivist
people.
ideology, to change the definition to manipulate the results.
Look at the best one they did. All right, they changed the definition of racism.
Right.
So that you have to be in a position of power in order to be a racist, so that black people and other people of color and other identity groups that are preferred victim groups cannot be racist.
Yep.
That's garbage. Once you do that, it's the same as saying, okay, now men, women, male, female. Okay, those words male, female still I think are XXXY, right?
Not anymore.
Well,
I changed it.
Did they? And
So-
man, woman means nothing.
Regular people in this country will say male and female are specific. They relate specifically to the gametes, sperm or egg. In woke nomenclature, male and female are arbitrary concepts that don't mean anything. Right. And they say they've said this for years now. In a debate with Jordan Peterson, there was one a university employee, historian of medicine, who said that biological sex is not a real thing, which is just absolutely untrue. They're doing these things. That's why I was like, right now you have an opportunity to pass a bill that says 2 + 2 = 4. You'll probably get some opposition. No joke. You will.
But that's
Do
the
it.
good thing.
Make a point.
So we can stand up and say, okay, that's BS. And that's the problem, is for too long, they've been unopposed. And they've been doing that. They've been changing definitions, and people were like, I'm busy. I got to get my kids to soccer practice.
Right.
Well, you can no longer get your kids to soccer practice in this country if they're going to do what they're doing. You have to spend some of your time fighting back against wokeness, or we will no longer have a republic where your kids are allowed to play soccer.
The racist thing, I can't wrap my head around. It's like some debates I can have. 2 + 2 = 4, okay. There's multiple bases of mathematics. 4 doesn't exist in all of them. The racist thing, to say that just because a class or a group of people are prejudiced against, that it's impossible for them to be racist against other types, is in that I can't come to terms with.
But that's what they want. And it's all 1984. All right. Orwell did this, back long ago. The idea is to tell you what truth is and confuse you so you can't oppose it, because they want power. And you get power by forcing people to accept your version of the truth. That's why they say, let me give you my truth.
Right.
No.
And rest in power.
Yeah, no. There is no your truth. You have your opinion.
Right.
It's not your truth. There is truth. There is falsehood. There is good. There is evil. There are absolutes in philosophical ideas like that. There are not absolutes in politics. And what they want to do is flip that on its head and give you their absolutes in politics, which is that black people can't be racist, and expect you not to go, no, flag on the play. I'm sorry.
Have you seen the Winnie the Pooh meme where it's like a regular Winnie the Pooh, then it says a word, then it says him wearing a monocle, then him wearing a suit? There's one where it's regular Winnie the Pooh and it says my opinion. Then it's him with a monocle and like a mustache and it says anecdotal evidence. And then the bottom one is him in a tuxedo and it says my lived experience.
But okay, there you are.
Right.
As long as you can say it is how I feel, because it's all about the feels. The left lives on emotion. All right.
Yeah.
And wokeness is all about trying to create a society where people can't be judged as good, bad, or indifferent, and they can't be offended. They have a right to be free from offense, which conflicts with the First Amendment, which was designed so I can offend you.
I'm sorry, it conflicts with reality.
Okay, there you go.
Like, I get offended by the woodpecker who keeps banging on the tree outside. What am I going to do about it? Sometimes things exist. I get offended by the rain. How dare you, rain? I'm trying to skateboard right here. Some things you can't do anything about.
Well, you can get a BB gun and take care of that woodpecker.
Well,
Unless it's a red cockaded woodpecker, in which case
dead.
you can't because
Right.
it's protected.
Yeah,
Well, the idea is you could be sitting in your own home, sitting there with your gut hanging out, drinking a beer and eating your fifth slice of pizza, and Amy Schumer comes on and you go, ugh, she's nasty. And then they find out and they freak out and they get mad. How dare you say that? You're fat phobic.
Also, like if two people are hanging out and one person feels offense, who did the offending? Was this person offended or did this person offend? Or did this person receive it or create? You can't.
We got no
like it's
reason.
not
You
just
how I
chicken
feel
and-
about
chicken
how
and egg
you acted.
defense.
Yeah,
I
you did,
can't
yeah.
say
That was good.
It
I
makes
feel
sense.
this, so you made me feel it. It's no.
Right.
I made myself feel this way based on my surroundings the
But
way I
wokeness
perceive.
teaches that you should look for offense. I mean,
Yes.
they literally teach. That's why the grievance is so important. The grievance is the basis for wokeness because you need the grievance to create a need for spoils and reparations.
So is this like proactive defense thing? Like I think they're gonna harm me in the future, so I'm gonna come out hard and strong and
No.
bomb the country ahead of
I
time.
want power, so I'm going to manipulate people to get power. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of people. You ever see Fight Club?
Yeah,
You see
I was
Fight
just
Club?
watching clips from that.
Remember that line from Edward Norton where he's like, most people will do everything in their power to avoid getting into a fight. Yeah, the woke people figured that out. So they go into your workplace and you're sitting there typing away on your computer like, I just want to get my job done. And they go, excuse me,
Dude, that's terror.
did you have a turkey sandwich? Turkey is racist because the Pilgrims used turkey as a symbol of their colonization when they
Wow.
killed the Native Americans. You can't be eating turkey today because it's Indigenous Day. And then you know what people do? I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I don't want to get into a fight. I don't want to deal with this. Can I just go home now? That's what they
That's
do.
like low-key terrorism.
It's literal
Without a doubt,
terrorism.
it's information warfare against you, and the only answer to it is to not care.
Right.
I mean, that's my favorite thing. When I wrote Myth of White Fragility, I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to get called a racist. And after the 65,000th time, it didn't bother me to start with, right? Because I know I'm not. But the idea now that everyone needs to be able to stand up and say, no, you can call me that, but it doesn't change my lived reality, right? Which is that I'm not. And so I'm going to stand up and say, shut up. Quit being a jerk. I got work to do. First of all, get out of here. And second of all, I'm having another turkey sandwich.
It's amazing to me how many people try to convince these woke people that they're not actually racist. I'm like, bro, they know you're not racist. They don't care. Like
don't.
I tweeted something this is funny on Twitter, right? So I had this big rant on a couple different nights about campaign finance and how I really, really think it's wrong that billionaires can dump hundreds of millions of dollars to, for instance, ban gun rights. I say that one because it should resonate with people who want Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. When you get Tom Steyer and Bloomberg spending, $500 million to convince people guns should be banned by lying about what an assault weapon is, even though that doesn't really define anything, that makes me angry. The same is true for any billionaire. I don't care what they're pushing. I don't like the idea that someone's going to spend money, go into your district, and then tell all your neighbors to vote against their own rights. I got a problem with that. So we get this thing where Marjorie Taylor Greene, she raises $3.2 million in her first quarter. AOC only raised $768K. So Marjorie Taylor Greene has raised nearly 5 times as much as AOC did in her first quarter. And so I quote tweeted and I just put ha 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 ha. I'm laughing. You know why I'm laughing? Because they like to talk about the millionaires and the billionaires, and I've been complaining about external donations into districts to manipulate politics. I was laughing about Marjorie Taylor Greene because it shows the media's smears backfired, and campaign finance, which they don't care about AOC, is now propping up someone they don't like. Mm-hmm. But these people don't. So what happens is they tweet at me like, "See, you clearly support Marjorie Taylor Greene." I'm like, bro, I'm not going to argue with you because you're an idiot. I know you have no idea what you're talking about. It's just tribalism where they pretend. They pretend where they're like, "Are you actually going to defend Marjorie Taylor Greene?" And I was like, "What about ha 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 is defending anybody? Like, please explain that to me."
The best part about that was where you showed the part where Google translated it from Tagalog.
Yeah.
The translation was,
I think your AI needs some work. Yeah. It wasn't even a translation. That was the best part.
So Google offered to translate it for me, and
You're saying don't bother defending yourself against it. I think that's a great statement because, I mean, if an alligator wants to fight you underwater, it's going to drag you underwater. You're going to lose that fight.
Exactly. You got to make them go on land. So one thing I always look out for when people actually try and debate you, a common tactic of dim-witted or mid-witted individuals is to force you to fight underwater. It's a good analogy, Ian. And so what'll happen is it's Mott and Bailey. They'll say, "I think X," and you'll go, "Well, X is this," and they'll go, "Well, actually, but why?" And we're not talking about why. I don't care. Never let them redirect. Someone will so there's a guy I know who tweets at me, and he quote tweets me, and he'll say something like, "Tim Pool did X." I'll respond with, "Actually, I did Y." And then he'll change the subject and be like, "Yeah, well, don't you remember when you did Z?" And I'll be like, when it comes to Y, I just totally disregard any attempt at derailing and dragging me underwater. I won't even mention it. They want to derail you, and there's literally no reason to talk about something you don't want to talk about. So don't fight an alligator underwater.
And if someone says,
that's a quote from Ian.
"Do you think A or B?" You don't have to say A or B. You can say whatever you want. Your answer can be anything. You do not have to answer questions the way people want you to.
Like, Ian, what color is the sky?
Doesn't matter.
So we've got free will. We can literally do what we want. We don't have to do what they say.
Yeah. That's
true. That's a great way to fight wokeism.
But people are scared.
I know, and that's the problem. All right, and they should be scared because they're very good at hurting you. All right, they're attacking your livelihood. They'll attack you at your family. They'll attack you at your work. They can get you fired. All right, that hurts regular people in a real way. That's why we have to band together. Now, we don't have to form, support groups and have safe spaces for people on the right to say, "Oh, the wokeness is making me feel bad." We just have to do what you did. It's tell them, "I'm not going to play your game."
Don't even say it.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Don't even acknowledge the game.
I think at some level you have to with this, but you can stop them from the redirect. You can say, no, I'm just talking about what you just did. You said I'm a racist for eating turkey. That's garbage. And if you want to go anywhere from there, I'm not going to indulge you. But I don't believe eating turkey is racist. Neither do you. You're a jerk for bringing it up.
You want to know what I would do? I'd show up the next day with turkey sandwiches for the entire office.
Yes.
Exactly. We had Vosh on the show. Do you know who Vosh is?
Yeah.
And I had some, right personalities say like, "I can't believe you would invite this person on your show." And so my response is, "I'm going to book him again." It's like, dude, I don't play that game.
You're not scared of a different opinion. You're not scared of people who disagree with you. You don't feel they have to be isolated and pushed out and quarantined.
I think if we need to talk to people
with
with
different
opinions.
Did you get a vaccine? How'd that work, man? How'd you get that? I'm stunned.
How could you have people with different opinions on your show?
I lived in Madison, Wisconsin, all right, which is one of the reddest cities on earth. I was introduced by everyone who knew me there as, "This is Jim, my conservative friend," because I was the only one they knew, right? Yet we managed to coexist. All right, we managed to disagree. We managed to say that, hey, okay, because what I do with them is I say, look, I think we have the same goal. I think we both want people to be safe and prosperous and live their lives and not be killed by things. All right. But I think we have different methods that we think will achieve that. And I think mine are more effective. And here's why I think yours are less effective. And if in the end we don't agree, we go our separate ways, we vote, and we continue to live as Americans. The problem with wokeism is you can't do that because they think if you don't follow their way, you are actually literally causing harm. And they have actually a religious duty to them to stop you.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.